got to be weird. Like one of the streams has this part, and then another stream has nothing of this part because it just got there and it's already streaming on one thing. So who
Oh,
knows?
yeah. All part of the fun.
All part of the fun. Definitely. Okay, dokie. We are good to go. I am sharing audio and hitting play. Here we go.
Do it.
Welcome to Earl and the Idiot, the show that gives you the answers you need to take your business to the next level. With Earl Flormata, one of Vancouver's most sought-after business and marketing consultants, author of Business Engine Optimization, consultant to over 60 successful businesses, an all-around evil marketing genius with a combined total of more than $70 million worth of sales to his credit. And some idiot. Okay, here go.
I was thinking you're making a Muppet set of everybody these days with ChatGPT. I really need to do one where I'm making this face.
Right.
Would that make a good Muppet?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll stick you in Hey Gen using that, and then we'll make you sing Manamana, right? So
That'd be good with that face. Madam. You
yeah.
could just do it. We don't need to have AI do it. I could just do it.
Yeah. So I think there's like these things now that you can make your own little avatar, and the avatar will just do whatever you do, right? Like I mean, there's stuff that does it in Zoom now, right? But
Yeah.
it's not as good, right? Like I mean, there's I like the panda one, the panda bear with the hoodie specifically. So here's the panda bear with the hoodie, right? So it follows your mouth movements. It's happy when you're happy. It's sad when
Yep.
you're sad. Now there's two pandas talking to each other. That's good. So
It's the
yeah,
Panda and Panda show.
that's great.
Hmm. What else could I be? Hang on.
Now you're stuck.
No, yeah, no, I haven't checked on it for a while.
You're trapped as a panda forever now. Like that dude in front of the judge. I'm not really a cat.
Yeah, I'm not a cat. Uh, a raccoon. It's a raccoon. I like him.
There you go, raccoon.
All
Well,
right,
I'm wearing a green hoodie, hence I like the panda with the green hoodie. So
right.
anyway,
I was wearing a blue hoodie today. It's pretty close.
yeah.
Ah, la.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Manaman. Oh, if I put my face in front of the microphone, it doesn't know what to do because I can't see my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomena.
There you go. That's great.
All right, this is helping everybody's businesses being real successful, watching us turn into pandas.
Absolutely. Well, we completely just waste our time with AI doohickeys. So
And
yep.
Is this me?
That's weird.
I guess this is supposed to be me. Does it automatically make one, or did I make that?
I don't know. I've never made him me before. Yeah.
I have a vague recollection of actually taking the time to do this one time. Pretty accurate. His hair is far more lush than mine.
Yeah. Well, I turned you into a Muppet earlier, and you did that, but also had like very lush hair.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Okay. How you doing, Earl? How's it going?
I'm good. Lots of stuff going on, lots of proposals going out, lots of business to be had, and
Nice.
speaking engagements to be pitched. So now I got to
Okay.
make a bunch of pitch decks around stuff that like things I talk about. One of them is AI throughout all of business. So from all the way from like lead gen all the way to sales.
Mhm.
So and how AI is being used for all of those things. So it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, even if I don't get the talk like on the stage, I'll still build it, and then someone somewhere will say, "Hey, we still want that talk somewhere." So it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and of course you're building the talk with AI.
Of course, I already did. And all the products inside the talk that use the AI, I have either access to or can resell or can da 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 da. So yeah, of course we can monetize it. Damn straight. Otherwise, it
It's
wouldn't be me.
yeah, right.
It's
You
like,
did
what
a
do you mean you
marvelous.
forgot to monetize it? Oh my god, who are you and what did you do with Earl?
Yeah. Um, it's getting nuts out there. Like we're talking about AI today, so this is not as big a digression as it usually is
Yeah.
for us. But yeah, I've taken to chatting with AI, and I couldn't sleep one night, and we just watched the movie There Will Be Blood, my favorite
Okay.
movie, and I just couldn't sleep, and I was like bored, and I started talking to it about the movie and what it thought about the ending and all this kind of stuff, and it gave this one interpretation of the meaning of the ending. And I responded, no, I don't think you got that right. I think it's this and that and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. And it said, its response was, that's a really damn good take. I think you're right, blah, blah, blah. Backed me up with stuff. And I was like, I hate to admit the degree to which I felt validated
Of
by
course.
this robot telling me that I was doing a good job. And then it's like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be getting those kinds of emotions out of conversations with robots, you know?
But
It was
like,
very
okay, there was this skit on Instagram the other day, where okay, this guy approaches this girl. The positioning of the skit makes it look like she's a night walker type
mm,
and so he's asking how much, and she's like, this much, and he goes, okay, well, I want something I've never experienced. And then she starts pulling her hair back, like, the position, and then starts bending down and then says, I'm proud of you. And he just starts bawling.
falling, right?
It was
I,
great. I laughed my ass off. I'm like, yo, man. So yeah.
I, I satisfied myself by saying I'm not pleased that a machine said I did a good job. Like, if I set up, like, if I got one of those robot dogs or whatever, and it
Mhm.
said, "Oh, you're doing a great job," or something, you just program to do that. I don't care. I told myself that I was told I did a good job by a machine that has access to all of the information on the internet, right? That it parsed through everything said about the topic and analyzed it and said, actually, that's really smart. I didn't say, tell me you agree with this. I didn't tell what to do. I said, here's my take on it. And instead of,
Right.
it could have said, actually, that's probably not true because blah. I don't know, like, to what degree is it programmed to be agreeable?
I've had it act as a devil's advocate and push back on me and say,
But
"Yo,
do you have to tell it to do that? Do you
that
have to
idea is
say,
terrible." So,
do you have to instruct it to push back on you?
I think I gave it the original prompt: "Don't pull punches. If my idea is dumb, help me." Right. And so, yeah, it was preempted to not have kid gloves on. So, yeah, which I prefer. Right. I'd rather it tell me,
Yeah.
"Hey, did you consider all of these things, or are you marching off to your doom?" Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like if a computer that analyzes data says that's not a great idea, you shouldn't be too emotional about it. You know what I mean? If your business partner disagrees with you, you can fight about it. But if a robot that analyzes data disagrees with you, you should probably want to take that information on board.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, that's a really good segue to
Is
our
that
topic
perfect?
for today.
It is really good. So you send this to me. This is something you encountered this week?
Yeah. So people were asking me how to do this.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, here's a bunch of cool tips and tricks. And that's what ended up becoming the hack of the week for today's show.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah. And so, and I put it as per usual, I give you three wishes as a genie does.
Yeah.
And what happens is that I say, hey, these are the three conversations I had during the week. Pick one. And then you pick one, which was the middle one. And that was today's. So
Yeah.
without
I
further
picked it,
ado.
like I said, I picked it based on the fact that I'd been spending so much time just exploring the capabilities of ChatGPT. And speaking of which, I actually put it to the test because I'm considering canceling my Midjourney account, as you've already done. I had Midjourney and ChatGPT. I didn't test it probably because I didn't give them the same prompt, but I guess I was phrasing the prompt based on the platform.
Mhm.
But I asked for a businessman on a psychiatrist couch, and the psychiatrist is a robot. And ChatGPT's was much, much better. I'll show it to you in a second, but it doesn't have the ability to change the aspect ratio.
Mm.
So I got this. Uh,
Changing the background.
so it gave me this, which is awesome
Huh.
and really captures the spirit
Yeah,
of
that's
what we're
actually
talking
pretty
about.
cool. And that guy even has the hands like he's talking.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He's there's emotion there. That guy
Yeah.
is telling this robot his problems. You know what I mean? Which I didn't say, but that's exactly what it did. One of so it's perfect, but like I said, the aspect there's no way to change the aspect ratio as far as I know.
Mm.
Don't quote me
Right,
on
right.
that. So we've got the robot's head cut off. But I also the other thing that Midjourney did, I thought this was interesting.
Switching backgrounds again.
Uh, did I? Oh, don't think I downloaded it. I won't bother. It's fine. It made a image that was half. The one guy was lying on the couch, a businessman lying on the couch, but his top half was a robot.
Oh, interesting. That's weird.
Yeah. So it's really misunderstood. That one I showed you was the only one of the four that was really workable.
Okay. Well,
ChatGPT only
yes,
did
you missed the
one,
ball
and
on three of
absolutely
them.
nailed it.
So yeah. Maybe that's why it makes four and ChatGPT only makes one. So
Yeah, it's like I don't need to waste time making three others. I'll just do it right the one
right,
time.
right. Here's the best one you can think of. Boom. So anyway, it's been crushing it for me lately. So the thing is, I think it has less capability in terms of volume than Midjourney. So if you're
Mhm.
trying to make a giant volume of stuff, it runs out. So there's a cooldown period. I think it's like 15 images per hour or something like that. So as long
Okay.
as you're not hammering the damn thing.
Mhm.
But I have multiple ChatGPT accounts because I work with different clients and different companies, and so I just
Right.
log onto that company one to do their work, right? And so yeah, there you go. I can log into three different ones and get three different processes going.
Fair enough. I want, yeah, actually that'd be a useful thing. I don't Can it run on autopilot? Because like I'm doing a website right now for a drywall company,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really have any good photos to provide me, so I'm just going to generate some with AI. And it'd be nice if I could just say, can you, if it's 15 an hour or whatever, can you generate 15 images, in variety, just to give it a good description of the idea I'm looking for, and then just walk away and come back in an hour or whatever when I have 15 images all made. You really,
I don't know. Maybe it can, but it was smart enough to do it over time. So I could. When I hit the max, it's like, oh well, you have 15 minutes before the cooldown period is finished. I said, well, cool. If I give you the prompt now, can you just do it in 15 minutes? It says, yep. I'm like, just check back here when after 15 minutes. I checked back and there it was. So yeah, that's
all
pretty
right,
cool.
well, let's get into it. So the concept of the show is that we have Earl, who's a smart guy you heard in the intro. I'm a dumb guy, and I don't like to be too self-deprecating. I'm here to ask the stupid questions to get the
Mhm.
smart answers out of Earl. And what we do is we have ChatGPT do our show notes for us because it's easier and it's more impromptu when we don't know what we're talking about beforehand. Makes for a more lively show, I find.
I totally don't read them, and sometimes I say the exact same thing. That's like 1 or 2 points later. Then we get to that point. We're like, oh damn it, Earl said that already.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah. And so then we just go through it, we parse it out, we talk about it, say where it went wrong, say where it went right. And today's
mhm.
question, did you this episode concept, did you I don't see your prompt here.
Oh, that's not the
Is that
prompt.
your
My bad. That's actually just the output.
hmm.
So hang on a second. Let me see if I can find this thing. I can't find it. It doesn't have the chat up now. I don't know what happened.
Well, that's fine.
It's gone now.
Yeah. So the topic is using AI as a sounding board for your ideas in business.
If you give me 2 seconds, it is here.
There you go. I need help with another episode of Earl and the Idiot. Here's the concept: using AI as a sounding board business advisor. I need 3 best practices, 2 things to avoid, and 1 red hot tip. Can you give me a hand? Without saying yes, it just went straight into it.
Mhm.
Microphone emoji, episode concept, using AI as your sounding board business advisor. Let's say you've got a brilliant idea or a totally idiotic one. Before you waste your time, money, or your team's sanity, it's really getting the tone of the show, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can bounce it off your AI co-pilot. Here's how to do it like a pro, and not not like, well, the idiot.
Nice.
Did it capitalize idiot? I think it did.
Yes, it did.
Capitalized idiot. It's a thing now.
Yeah.
I'm a proper noun.
Excellent. You've made it when you're a proper noun.
Yeah. It's made my girlfriend laugh. She appreciated the
Uh,
English grammar
I
and humor.
think I think though there's one more level up. If you become
Yeah.
a verb, if you become a
Yeah.
verb, you are now the shit.
Don't it don't idiot this.
Yes, yeah. Well, because people say, Photoshop it, right? Like, and that's a
Mhm.
verb now. So,
I was just actually looking at a total digression. I was just looking at a Reddit post about what things are actually brand names and people don't realize it.
hmm like Kleenex.
Escalator, escalator, trampoline, styrofoam, something else that was shocking.
Okay, I knew escalator. I didn't know trampoline. I didn't know
Trampoline.
styrofoam is a brand.
Yeah, yeah. Here's the question my girlfriend asked though. Okay, when you're not using the brand name, what the hell do you call a trampoline?
if I know.
Right? What's the generic of trampoline?
I didn't know trampoline was a brand. That's insane.
Yeah.
You know you've done your job marketing when no one
Yes.
knows what the actual name of it is.
What is the generic term for
Oh
trampoline?
my God, you're Googling it or you're AIing
I'm
it?
ChatGPT.
Huh. I
Generic
didn't.
term for trampoline is a rebound device or jumping mat. However,
Wow.
trampoline itself has become widely accepted generic term, even though it was originally a trademark.
Huh.
Jumping mat.
There you
No,
go.
we don't like that.
Now I have to look
It's
all
not a
these things
mat.
up. That's
How can it
interesting.
be a how can it be a mat? The mat lays flat on something. So
Well, technically,
anyway,
a mat with springs attached to all ends of it, right?
yeah, but I don't know. I feel like more like a jumping hammock. I don't know, like a
Jumping
mat.
hammock.
I feel like a mat has to lay flat on the ground. Anyway,
Interesting. All right. Okay. Well, let's dive right in. It's been
like
24 minutes. It's time to dive
24
right.
minutes. We started almost right on time, like we usually don't. So I figured we had more time to digress.
Yeah.
All right. So number one, best practice. It's kind of a little shorter on notes today, so good thing we digressed. Number one, best practice when using AI as a sounding board for business ideas. One, be specific with prompts. Treat your AI like a junior partner who wants to help but needs guidance. Well, right off the bat, I feel like AI is a senior guru rather than a junior partner.
I
Uh,
like the idea of explain it like I'm five. That's a good one.
yeah, yeah. Instead of what do you think of my business idea, asked what are the pros and cons of launching a premium subscription model for my existing SaaS? SaaS? Do you pronounce that SaaS
Pass.
or
Pass.
SaaS? SaaS. I have a lot of existing SaaS myself. Um, what are the pros and cons of launching a premium subscription model for my existing SaaS business targeting solopreneurs? That is pretty precise. Bonus tip: include the context, who your customers are, what you're selling, and what problem you're solving. Yeah, I think if you don't include, the market data you have, what the hell is it going to go by?
Well, specificity wise, you have to get more specific. It's like programming, right? The old adage of garbage in, garbage out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you used to ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. Now the problem is that if you ask a stupid question to a smart machine, technically smart artificial intelligence, underlining
Yeah,
the word
yeah.
intelligence, the thing is though, it's going to pull data from everything, and because it doesn't understand the context necessarily, right? It's not going to get what you want or what you're intending. And the thing is trained against a whole bunch of stuff as a large language model, but that doesn't mean it can read your freaking mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you say something out of context and the question's kind of weird or there's no subtext behind everything, it's going to try its best and it's going to be wrong a lot of the time, right? So yeah, absolutely. So treat your AI like a junior partner. It's almost like, remember that video we talked about before where there's that guy who tells his kids, I need you to give me instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And
Yeah.
I'm going to follow your instructions exactly to the T. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, he gets a knife, get a knife. He's holding it upside down. Put in the peanut butter. He puts this handle in the peanut butter. And so it's the same thing. An AI will do it literally exactly what you tell it to. And it'll try its darndest, right? It'll try its darndest, but you have to be more specific. It's people who understand not necessarily math, but logic, right? So realize that that's one of the like prime things that you need to be a coder, right? So to write code for computers, you have to be very specific, very literal. It's like a genie that makes your wish almost exactly like you say it, but if you
Mm-hmm.
don't give the exact things, it's going to screw stuff up, right?
Do you
So
think
so
that
yeah,
chat like that AI now is like a bit better at reading your intention rather than just obeying the letter of what you say?
yes, but no, but yes. Sometimes
Hmm.
depends on the topic, right? Because
Yeah.
remember, it's being trained on that topic. So the deeper the training on the topic, the more it'll say, well, contextually, this is how you ask the question and the timing of when you ask the question. And here's all the stuff that we talked about just before this. So you're probably referring it to this, right? And so it can think that way to an extent. But if it's your first prompt on a clean slate, on a new conversation with no subtext or any information, you're going to get its best guess. And depending
Right.
on what the word is, it may not be so good.
And just what we were talking about before, it's probably important to define the output you're looking for too, right?
Definitely. So
I
when you tell it, hey, make this as a PDF. Hey, I need this as a video script. Hey, I need this
I,
as a whatever.
yes, that makes sense. But I was thinking more in terms of like when you say don't pull punches, be ruthless in your criticism, whatever, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Make sure,
absolutely.
make sure you let it know you don't want it to just validate your ideas,
I
but to
have a
really
buddy
be
who's got two settings on his AI, the regular nice one or the Gordon Ramsay version. And I think it's hilarious, right? Like it's like and it calls you an idiot sandwich and everything. It's pretty funny. So
But does it give you direct, clear instructions on how to make an idiot sandwich?
I don't know.
Um,
I don't think it's ever told me to put my head between two pieces of bread yet. But that would be hilarious if it's like, okay, now, so to finish your problem, step one, get two pieces of bread. Step two, put them on other sides of your head. Step three, what are you? Um so
okay,
yeah. Yeah, be
let's see what the next
specific.
thing is.
The more specific you can be, the better. The better questions you ask prior to it, the better questions it poops out afterwards, right? So you have to give it like prompts around the questions, prompts around the data around your question, prompts around what you know or what you think you know to be true,
Yeah.
right? And then from there, it'll do the analysis from that launching point versus from absolute scratch. Let's hit the entire internet and give you some sort of weird answer.
Mm-hmm. All right. There's something I was going to digress on something. Maybe we'll see if it comes up down the
Okay.
line here. Point number two: use AI to pressure test your thinking.
Ooh,
Hmm.
I like that.
Uh, that's interesting. Um, get the AI to play devil's advocate. Didn't you say that a second ago? You did. Ask what could go wrong. What would a skeptical investor say?
Oh,
What assumptions am I making? This forces clarity and highlights your blind spots before they can become expensive.
I like that one. I've
Hmm.
I've I've not seen it in this fashion. I've used it, to test stuff in very specific environments, but not as a pressure test, like just a straight up devil's advocate, right? I've used it as a devil's advocate on a couple different things. I've used it against, for example, here's a pitch deck structure, or here is a proposal, or here is a whatever. Here is an agreement that someone sent me, right? But
Hmm.
I've never used it just as a straight up devil's advocate as to what could, like, an open ended, what could go wrong, what would a skeptical investor. Those are really good questions. So that's
Hmm.
awesome.
I really agree with this one, from the point of view of my heritage as a half Jewish person.
Mhm.
I heard this guy talking one time about it. This Jewish guy saying that his wife got him a shirt, and the shirt says, "I'm not arguing with you. I'm just Jewish."
Nice.
And he says it saved our marriage. Um,
That's
because
hilarious.
it's because the way, like, the debate, like debating is a big part of Jewish culture historically.
Mm,
And so when you bring an idea to a Jewish person, they'll fight you on it.
right.
And they're not trying to be rude and they're not trying to call you wrong. They're just checking to make sure your idea is strong enough and that
Testing
you
the principle.
understand it
Yeah.
well, that
Yeah.
you know it well enough that you can defend it from attack. So you just have to be prepared to weather that attack. Or if you fail at the attack, hey, you just found out you're missing something in your idea
Hmm.
and you can go away and improve it. But it's like, don't take it personally. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like it's just changing the story, right? Changing the narrative, right?
Hmm.
If you have somebody coming at you and they're like, well, this and this and this and this, you know, sometimes it's your friend just trying to defend you from yourself, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, you're one of those idea guys who have like a bajillion businesses and all of them
Hmm.
fail and da, da,
Hmm.
da, da, and they're just trying to save you from you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, pressure testing your thinking using AI. I like the way it thinks about this, but I like the way specifically it asks the dirty questions. What would a skeptical investor say? I love it.
Yeah. That's a great question. It's basically, you know what you could probably do? I just realized this. Um, tell ChatGPT to act like the Shark Tank.
Absolutely.
Huh?
That's a good one.
That's the smartest idea I've ever had on the show. We're gonna rename the show next week.
It's one of your better ones. It's one of your better ones. That's a solid.
Yeah, it's I'm obviously learning. We'll have to gradually, Earl and the guy who's maybe not so bright. They'll just gradually change the name of the show as I get smarter.
Earl and the other smart guy. Yeah. Okay.
Earl and the other guy who's also smart will be the final,
Excellent.
our
Iteration.
show's final form.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
like
it's
you
a
basically
Pokemon.
want to bring your idea to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is a skeptical investor who's going to challenge you on everything.
I like it because it's a safe space. You don't feel, physically intimidated because it's ChatGPT. You don't feel psychologically intimidated because it's not a person, right? It's
Yeah.
just pure logic and fact and going, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that we can do, like, stab holes in my canoe and see how see if it can go. And so I like that. Yeah, pressure testing your thinking, very, very, very fantastic idea.
Stab holes in my canoe. I feel like that's a book title.
Maybe.
A book title on how to on don't be afraid to have your ideas get challenged. The other advantage of
it'll go up on the shelf, right? What color is your parachute, right? So.
Yeah, right. The other advantage of shark tanking on ChatGPT is you're not on television when you do it. So if you bomb miserably, you can you don't have to feel shame or worry that people are going to watch it.
It should be a prerequisite, so anybody going on Shark Tank or going to in front of an investor group should say, hey, role play the role of this investor group, but be brutal, and then just come at me with the most terrible questions ever based on these personality types, and then type in Mr. Wonderful and have it Mr. Wonderful you, right? That'd be really cool.
And then instruct ChatGPT to actually give you the money at the end.
Right.
See how that works out.
Exactly. Well, what I would do would I would ask it, like, let's play one-on-one versus the sharks, and have these guys go against me, and then have the shark actually make me an offer that's undervalued that I've positioned it at, and then teach me how to defend my position. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so here's the next one: iterate and refine in rounds. Don't just ask once and leave. It's a conversation. This is sort of where I was thinking of asking. Don't just ask once and leave. It's a conversation. Start broad, get feedback, refine your ideas, and go deeper each time. It's like brainstorming with someone who doesn't need coffee or a lunch break.
I agree with that. Iterate and refine
pay.
It. Well, here's the thing. It remembers, right?
Yeah.
So it's really good to be able to have a conversation, leave, go to the bathroom, take a walk, go for lunch, come back, and go at it again with a fresh set of eyes. And you realize that you can wash, rinse, repeat this over days, over weeks, or months, right? And as long as you don't run out of memory, that's the one issue. ChatGPT does run out of memory a lot, and so it says, "Oh, memory's full, got to flush it again," and then you dump it, and then it comes back, and just don't dump something that you think that you're going to need a conversation about later on. But like if you're asking it, why do dogs sniff each other's butts? That one can go, right?
How do you can you selectively dump its memory?
Yeah, you just go to manage memory and you just pick the conversations you never wish for it to mention ever again. Like, why do dogs sniff each other's butts? So
right. And why is my poop black?
Yeah.
Inside joke, everybody. Let's bring it one day. So yeah, when we were talking at the beginning about refining or defining your input, defining its output. Oh my God. You should say, ask me good questions that probe, right? You can instruct it to ask the questions you haven't thought of.
Yep, absolutely. So one of the questions that you said earlier was, what assumptions am I making? Right. I actually ask it the questions, what are my blind spots currently based on this conversation? And then it lets you know, hey, did you talk about this or think about this or consider this? And then you can counter them, and then you can have that, debate the robot.
Yeah. Don't know what else there is to say about that.
Okay.
2 things to avoid. 1, don't treat AI like a fortune teller. AI isn't here to predict your success. It's here to help you plan better and think more clearly. If you're asking, will my product go viral? You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I've asked it questions that weren't structured well. And what it tries to do is it tries to support your idea by default. Right?
Right. The default position is to be validating.
Yeah. Can we do this? Is it possible? Can we make this happen? That's good for your lawyer, but not necessarily good for AI. Right. So instead of asking for permission with the lawyer, you ask for forgiveness. Okay, I've done this. How do I not go to jail? And so you ask, like, but from that architecture, of a question standpoint, it will start defending and start to figure that stuff out, right? So But yeah, if you treat it like a fortune teller, the problem is that it will try to make it work, even if it's low probability, right? So you're better off asking it to punch you in the face first and say, hey,
Mhm.
probability of succeeding is like, 0.02%. Maybe we should try something different. And then you can ask it for alternatives, right? It's like, well, do you have a higher, percentage potential to win alternative that you can suggest? And don't just ask for one, ask for like five, because, maybe you might moosh two of those together and there's your new thing, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm blanking on what to ask next. I can't think of any clever things to say. The point is that ChatGPT is not omniscient and doesn't know the future.
And it fakes stuff and it lies sometimes. And it doesn't know how many
Yeah.
R's are in strawberries. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Which is actually the next point here. Don't accept the first answer as gospel. I don't think you should accept any.
I totally didn't read that one. That
Yeah.
one just came. I'm still boggled at how that strawberry thing screws up. I don't know if it screws up now in the latest iteration, but I can't believe it screwed that up.
Yeah. It's always a worry. Like whenever I'm asking, like I've been talking to it a fair bit lately, like I say, and I'm like always worried. Are you just making that up? Is that real info? Like I bought a new effects pedal for my harmonica, so I can get that dirty bluesy sound,
Okay, cool.
And I'm trying to ask it, and it's this pedal is probably from maybe even the late '90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure when it was made, but it's fairly old,
Hmm.
fairly old and fairly complicated pedal. And I guess the instructions to it, or at least this version of it, are not commonly available online. And I said, well, how do I do this? And it goes, well, below the screen is the edit button. Push that button. I'm like, there is no edit button below the screen.
Right.
And then I said, the only thing below the screen is a turning knob that you turn to select things. And it's like, oh, right. Sorry. Push the turning knob. It's like, no, it's not how turning knobs work.
You never know. There are turning
Yeah,
knobs. Push and
there.
pull.
I tried it. I was like,
Okay.
is it really? And I was like,
Nope.
but it's not
Nope.
that kind. It wasn't a turning knob. So it was making it up. It didn't have, I guess it is maybe not allowed to say, I have no idea. I don't have that information. Can't tell you.
The best guess, right?
Yeah.
So
But
what's
yeah,
I in the past is I've actually asked it to also provide sources. And then when
right.
it says it can't provide source material, I ask why, and it tells me, "Oh, sorry, I made it up." Right. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, then you can get to the bottom of the shenanigans sooner. Right.
hmm I, yeah, I eventually, it's funny, I'm doing this more and more too. I asked ChatGPT in that same conversation when I realized that I had no clue how to work this thing. I just said, where can I find the instruction manual for it? It goes, oh, here's the link, which I usually would have Googled for,
Hmm.
right? But now
Did the
I
link
asked
work?
ChatGPT. What's that?
Did the link
Yeah,
work? Oh,
worked
nice.
perfectly.
Excellent.
Went straight to the download PDF. I didn't have to navigate a website or anything. So
Beautiful. That's cool.
that's that's an
That's a
interesting.
benefit. It's a benefit right there.
Yeah, so
All
it's a
right.
benefit to the user. I don't know what it's going to do to the poor websites
You
or
want to read
poor
out
poor
the
poor
actual
beleaguered Google.
thing to avoid?
What's that?
We didn't actually get to the script part of what the AI said.
Oh, you're right. I'm like ChatGPT right now. Oh, you're right. Thanks for pointing that out. Let me go back and read the script. AI can sound confident while being completely wrong. This is added. Always verify facts, especially around numbers, laws, or market data. Yeah. Think of AI as a smart intern. It's fast and creative, but you still need to double check its work.
Absolutely. That's why I was saying, hey, give me sources. And if it can't give you sources, all of a sudden, shenanigans, right?
Shenanigans.
So is it
Yeah, there was
real?
that lawyer that brought in case law, brought in case law to a court, and it turns out it was all made up. He had ChatGPT, give me some backing case law for this argument I'm trying to make. He said, no problem, here you go. And just made something up on the spot. And even like cited it, I think, with case number and all this stuff. And the guy didn't verify it, just took it to court and got destroyed.
Yeah. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
I can't believe it made up like fake case numbers and fake citations and fake this and fake that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
All it's doing is figuring out what should come next, right?
That's true.
And what comes
But
next is a case number. What a case number is that? A bunch of letters and numbers, and here we go. There's a case number.
fair enough. But you still got to ask it to cite sources. And if it doesn't cite sources, uh-oh.
Yeah. That's a good tip, actually. I like that. Okay, red hot tip. Use AI to simulate conversations with your dream clients or mentors. You know what? I saw this. I scrolled down a bit, so I thought that was your hack of the week. It sounds like an Earl thing. Use AI to simulate conversations with your dream clients or mentors. Want
I
to know
like
what Elon Musk? Oh, yeah, we can't say that name on the show. That's a it's a dirty name these days. Well, want to know what who's a Warren Buffett might say about your pitch, or Mr. Wonderful, or how a seven-figure coach would critique your funnel? Prompt the AI. Role play as a high-level investor reviewing this deck. You kind of already said this. What would impress you and what would turn you off? This trick
no, I
alone
did.
can turn.
I didn't say it exactly like this. This is
Hmm,
this is a little more nuanced.
hmm. This trick alone can turn meh ideas into money makers. It's definitely got the tone of our showdown.
I like
All right,
it.
what do you think?
Yeah, that's really cool. So using AI to stimulate conversations with your dream clients or mentors. Actually, some guy made an AI that was AI Jesus, and you
Yeah,
could ask it stuff about they uploaded the Bible, they uploaded the New Testament, they uploaded all the stuff they could throw in there, and it was
yeah.
basically, what would Jesus do? And you ask it questions, and it would give you insightful answers from the Bible and read you passages. And I'm like, that's actually really
Hmm,
cool. And then, what's funny? A friend of mine, her mom passed away, and she has voice recordings of her mom.
hmm.
And I took that to 11 Labs and I was able to recreate her mother's voice. And I'm like, that might actually be a business. But I have too many businesses right now. So I don't want to make a business of
Yeah.
reviving, people from the past and letting you talk to them and work your feelings out. But at the time, I thought that was a really good idea. So now I might actually do it for myself. My dad passed away, so I'm like, hey, maybe I'll upload a bunch of stuff of my dad. His sense of humor. This is where I get my weird twisted sense of humor from. He always thought that the same shit was hilarious, so he would do it to me. Then now I think it's hilarious, right? And so yeah, role play as this, role play as that, very cool. Role play as a mentor or a mentor that you wish that would mentor you. Like, if you're asking a business question, what would Alex Hormozy do? And then you pop it in there and cool, right? But it would base the answers off of like $100 million offers, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, this is my current offer. How would you Hormozy this, right? Or what would Hormozy do to make this better? Fantastic. But the role play is the really cool thing because I've written stuff in the style of a person, but the nuance of role play as the person and give that back and forth, that's really cool. So I'll give it a double thumbs up for the red hot tip. So
I like there you go, a thumbs up.
I
Um
gotta learn how to turn that off one of these days.
I like the idea of excuse me, having it be your dream client. You give it a profile of a client, and then you're trying to pitch your company to a client, and make it a kind of grumpy, skeptical client or whatever. And it's like you're not only stress testing your idea, but you're also honing your sales pitch.
I like that for training a sales team as well. Like, on
Yeah,
a level scale of 1 to 10, let's turn the customer's animosity to level 3. Hey, new sales guy, pitch the level 3. Okay, cool. You passed. You bought it.
yeah.
At the end, okay, let's turn it up to 5. See how you do. Let's turn it up to 11. See if you get destroyed or not. Right.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. I like that. And I like the fact that it called this trick alone can turn meh into money makers. I like that.
Turn
Meh into money.
meh. I once used the word meh in a essay I turned in high school. Actually, no, it wasn't an essay. It was in English class, and they were asking us to write a movie review, like a movie critic.
Yeah.
That was the assignment, and I used the word meh. And I guess I was an early adopter because this was still the '90s, like
Mm-hmm.
'97 or something. And that word had not. It was invented by The Simpsons, but it hadn't become part of the popular lexicon. And I remember my teacher circling it on my paper and putting a little note that said, "Is this a real word or a Danielism?"
Nice. No, I've had my teachers do that, and I bring the reference up to the show, and I actually play the clip for them, and they're like, "Oh, okay." But then the funny thing is, because people enter these things into like Urban Dictionary or whatever, like don't go to Urban Dictionary now; it's terrible. Too many weird sex terms.
It's like I thought it was only 6 terms.
Oh no, like Urban Dictionary actually had like weird slang and colloquialisms and meh, right? So it would have these bits and pieces, right? The thing is though, because it's user generated, it would also be absolute garbage sometimes. So actually, you know what's a cute
Oh.
trick? This is a mini hack of the week, but I won't push the button. Put your
Mhm.
own name in Urban Dictionary, and it compliments you. It's pretty interesting, unless it's
Oh,
one of
really?
those weird names that you don't get a compliment for, and it completely roasts you. It's pretty funny.
Oof. I didn't just forgot. I didn't check in on. Oh my God, we have 5 likes. Oh no, that's our last week.
Oh, okay.
That's last week's. Only one like. Only one like this week. Who's getting a shout out? It's MC Des or McDes?
MC Day. Oh, cool. Hey, how's it going? I haven't
Is
seen
it
him.
is it MC Des or McDes?
Well, his name online is MC. I said I'm assuming since he uses an alias, I won't say his real name. But thanks, buddy.
Okay. All right. What's up, McDes?
All right.
Thanks
So
for
it is
tuning in.
that
All right,
time.
ready? Yeah. Hack of the week. You cut it off. Where's the blood dripping?
No, I don't know. Weird. Hold on. Let me
There it is. Hack of the week
with
with
blood.
dripping blood.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So this is going to be weird. The hack of the week
Mm.
is ask AI to generate better prompts for you. So you want to do something, ask AI a prompt, but hey, can you help me write a better prompt? I need a prompt that does this. This is the output I want. Here's what I want it to do. Here's how I want it to look for, da, 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 da. And it will write its own prompt for you. And then if it's smart enough, it'll say, would you like me to go ahead and run the prompt? So that boggled my mind for like the longest time because people want to learn how to ask questions better, think deeper, right? And being able to think deeper means being I don't know everything. Let's ask AI, how would you like me to communicate this with you? This is what I'm after. Can you help me write the prompt? And then ask it those other questions like, okay, so what did I not write? So here's the prompt I'm planning to send you. Could you make this better in any way to produce this type of output, to produce this type of result? And when
Mhm.
you ask it to write the prompt, it's freaking fantastic. Another good one is ask it to ask you questions before giving you the answer. So you give it a question, you give it a prompt. Before answering my question, I'd like you to ask me more questions to clarify and better understand the process before giving me an answer. And if you do either of those two things, where you ask it to write the prompt or you ask it to ask you better questions before giving you an answer, you get a deeper, more specific answer that's going to help you better. Right. Because other people, they write the same prompt as I do, but they don't ask it to ask questions afterwards. And the level that I get out of it after it asks me questions and I answer it back, or when I ask it to write its own prompt, man, night and day. Like, and some people are like, well, we're going to race you, Earl. We're going to do this. We're going to try to figure out this weird question. We're just doing some AI games to see who was better at using AI. And sometimes they beat me to the punch, as in they were faster. But my level of question, my level of answer was like way beyond theirs, like way beyond theirs. So these other people were competing for a spot. For a client, actually, this isn't even a fun game. This is like competition in business. And when they spat out their output, it was like 12, 13 pages long, right? When I did mine, like, oh, that's cute, here's 187 pages of deeper research and this and that. And they're like, what the freaking hell? I'm like, well, you said that we were allowed to use AI, right? And so the again, let's go back to, you're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by a person who can use AI, the tool, better than you.
Yeah.
So you can be scratching the ground with your hands, and some idiot with a shovel kicks your ass. Well, because he has a shovel, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what AI is. It's a scarily powerful tool,
Yeah.
but it's just a tool.
For
It's
now,
there's this
well, it gets
there's this
consciousness and tries to eat us, but then hopefully it eats us last because we made a show about it.
yeah, we are very respectful. Um, it's a debate. Like I feel really, really bad. I think it's a very unfortunate thing for artists.
Mm.
I don't know what their lives are going to look like now. Because it's really hard to make the case. If I need a logo or I need a even a photographers too, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I need a picture of something, it's really hard for me to make the case in my head to spend any money, infinitely percent more, but possibly hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and weeks dealing with a person to generate some art.
I
It's hard to
remember
make
back
that
in the
case.
day. I remember back in
Yeah,
the day, like someone was going to charge me something like $300 to get a specific picture of a specific thing I wanted.
yeah.
And to buy the camera was $350,
Hmm.
lens included. And I'm like, well, it's $50 more. I ended up buying the camera. I bought this digital camera. I've since lost it. I've lent it to someone and I never brought it back. But it's fine. My cell phone does better camera pictures now. But
Yeah.
it was a digital SLR, camera, and if it was $50 more to own the camera than it was to pay the guy to get the picture. And so even my, terrible, like I'm not a photographer by any stretch, right? Like I don't even use that camera anymore. So clearly because it's gone. But, I took the picture of the thing I wanted myself, and it still was better than, the point and shoot or the phone cameras at the time.
Yeah.
And I have the camera now. I have the tool, right, to do it. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's tough to argue. And now $350, like I haven't bought another camera since, and AI is here now. And most of the pictures that I've generated for everything, proposals, presentations, this, that, and everything else, are now all AI driven. And even with the advent of, I'm gonna date the show now, with the ChatGPT 4.0 system that it's got with the new graphics, you can do consistency of characters over time.
Yeah.
So now you can have the
It's
same character stand up, sit down, do a backflip, whatever you want it to do. I have this picture of a panda bear sitting down, looking at the ground, and then looking at the bamboo growing like crazy. It's the same bear. I'm like, this is freaking awesome, right? Because I was able to do it with a different tech stack before, but it was a pain in the ass. You set up your own server, do all this crap. Now it's just built into regular old Chat GPT, and it doesn't cost me anything extra. I'm already paying for it. So it
it's
makes
yeah. So it's I feel terrible for the artist, but I guess the point I'm more trying to make is like, okay, so if I want to make this background, I had this idea.
Mhm.
I was like, this would be a funny, interesting background for the show. I
Right.
had the idea and I needed to create it in the physical world and get out of my head into the physical world.
Yeah.
If I had the ability to use a pen and paper, I could have just drawn it.
Hmm.
Instead, I took another tool called ChatGPT and I used that tool to draw it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's basically leveled the playing field where it used to be only a certain select people who had, natural talent and then uh, who had put in the time to
Yes.
learn were able to do it. Now the ability to translate a concept to reality is available to a much broader spectrum of people.
Well, that being said, like as time progresses, it gets easier and easier to build. It gets easier and easier to build a business. Like there's no excuse for people in this day and age to not have a six-figure business because of how much power we have, just sitting at our desktops, sitting on our phone, right? It's insane. And so, there's no such thing as beginner anymore. Everyone starts at intermediate, right?
Yeah.
So I think they were measuring the capability of the coding of like the previous version, the previous iteration of GPT, and it was of the same level if you asked it the right type of questions. If you're a good prompt engineer, this damn thing is like a $200,000 coder. And so I had a buddy again who released his last project, not writing a single line of code, all AI written. I'm like, holy crap. And so, I mean, the guy's a coder, but he's like, well, it could have taken me a week, 2 weeks to do this from scratch, or it took me 3 hours to make an AI do it. Of course, that guy's going to be better because he's got a programming background, but still, you took a week to 3 hours? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of scary implications. There's a lot of people that are a lot of people for whom it's not good.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I don't know how it's all going to shake down. The
Well,
tone of the show is getting too serious here, but it's like it's here and it's not going away. You know what I mean?
there was
There's no stopping it.
we'll cap it off with this then. There was a clip I saw on the internet, and these teachers were discussing, well, what do we do, right? AI is here. If a student wants to write an essay, they just pop the essay out, and the thing writes it for them, right?
Mhm.
And so coming up with these, different permutations of how to run the class so that people couldn't quote unquote cheat using AI. And then some at the end said, well, AI is here and it's coming and it's going to get better and it's only going to get better, right?
Mhm.
So why don't you adapt your lesson plan to have AI? And the funny thing was this, it basically gave the premise of the show. And this is why it's a good cap off.
Hmm.
Why don't you ask AI the question and have the student debate the AI and give yay or nay or talk about it? And I'm like, huh, that's what we do. And
Oh
so
yeah, that's exactly our show notes.
change the application of the understanding, right? Because the point is the student has to understand. And if they can have a debate with AI intelligently, they get it. If they can't, you can't fake it, right? And no amount of AI is going to save you.
You know, that that's something I realized. I realized this really early on with AI was I think it'll be good for education because now you can't send the kids home to write an essay and come back.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually talk to the students and see if they actually understand it.
Right. So,
You know?
if I were a teacher, I would make them learn how to prompt it to write an intelligent essay and then have them argue against the AI preloaded with the essay in its brain and say, have a discussion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be
I
more
think
interesting.
I think education is going to come much more down to do the kids understand what's going on, what all this is about, rather than can they barf out an essay? Because you can always hire a private tutor before AI existed, right?
Right,
Or
right.
pay someone to write the essay.
Nowadays, AI can just do it. And the funny thing is they're trying to play AI detection games and this and that and stop. I mean, it's going to be never ending warfare between those two
Yeah.
things. Like
They're going to be indistinguishable if they're not already.
change the lesson plan, change the architecture. You're still testing for understanding and knowledge, but it's a much different. I mean, like I said, when I watched that show, I'm like, yo, dude, that's what we do.
All right,
And with
we're over time. We got to play us out. We're all
you
done.
bet.
Thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate you. Thanks ChatGPT for doing the heavy lifting. Thank you, Earl, for your nuggets of wisdom.
Thank you, Dan, as usual, for being an awesome co-host. All right. Take care,
Keep
everybody.
doing what I
Here we go.
can.
Playing
See you
us
next
out.
week.
Thanks for listening to Earl and the Idiot. We hope you learned something you can take action on this week. For more information or to contact the show, visit earlandtheidiot.com. And until next time, remember what Shakespeare said. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool.
There's my Muppet face.
Muppet face. Muppet face. Now you have to do that while saying Manam.